Alright, so we are in third time, starting with Bedouins, the home map of Vietnam A. And how's it looking with the positions right about now? Okay, so that was already signaling right now from all the players in there, as they are basically just flaring at the start to let their teammates know where they are, so they know where to basically converge and whatnot. So ACCM is going to be at the top, and apparently Cool is going to be gravitating towards him as well, so they are going to be quite close to each other. It seems like a pretty good spot for him. Stone gold is there, some extra food, boar. That seems pretty decent. Seems pretty decent for... Well, right now, they are probably going to be fighting against, or rather over those deers. Not exactly sure how it's going to be working out. He's going to be really having a bit better game in there. He's going to be Spanish and the Mayan in here. Yeah, well, we're gonna see how that actually plays out. As on the left, that's going to be Backty and Say My Name. Oh, yeah, that's hard. Man, I've seen this. I have seen this actually between CZ and Argentina A last week. I think it was last week that they actually played. And this is a horrible idea on a map like this. Because Say My Name is right now spawning at the top of the map. Whereas, let's have a look how far away he is from his teammates. This is his closest teammate Brach at the bottom. He's basically on the other side of the map. And this is absolutely disastrous because he's not gonna receive any kind of significant help in the early fights. And this is what you don't want to do. So while last map... have I actually just now switched the players? I think that I actually did. That I thought they actually Say My Name is the player from Brazil. So I'm talking nonsense, sorry. But still. Oh no. Yeah, well, that happens. Waiting for the game. I was just so wanting some kind of interesting stuff happening on this map. But yeah. I already had to invent it myself, unfortunately, so sorry for that nonsense. But still, he's kind of far away. And considering that yet again, Say My Name is the player that is mostly used actually by the opponents from what I've read in the chat to actually somehow clinch a victory against Vietnam A, it might be a bit of an issue for them. He will definitely need a lot of assistance from Backty, and he's still kind of curiously away. It's not as crucial as I was actually making it out to be, because I was confused with the teams in here. I was just thinking that he was playing for Brazil, but he isn't. But still, he's quite far away from Backty, and it might be quite difficult for him to actually help him in some kind of significant way. And might be an open opportunity for Brach, and potentially even the pocket player Ryut, who is basically kind of forwardish. Interestingly, forwardish position for him as he's scouting with the sheep in there, to really cut him off as well. And even though he does have pretty nice starting position, he does have the gold quite close by, double pond, stone in there, not all that great behind the tree line. That's always tricky to actually defend. He does have the deer, and the position is not that bad. If it wasn't really kind of further away from back T and potentially abusable by the opponent. So otherwise, it seems like that this is basically just standard start for all of them. Everybody quite close by. You could be saying that Brach is also quite far away, or rather quite far away, a bit further away from Ryut. But I wouldn't really think that it's all that crucial, because he's of course kind of towards the corner and really a bit out of the way, a bit more than actually what Say My Name is. And what this position could also allow is for a Ryut, who is a bit more into the front as the pocket position player, to basically go into the pocket right off, into back T. To be having basically the same duel as they were having in the first game. And well, in that case, it could be really quite nicely working, because we have seen in the first one that Say My Name was kind of slowish to help. And if that happened again, well, we might be seeing a very similar game in the end as we did in the first one. So let's see about that. A lot of fishermen around the shoreline, even some fisher women in there, apparently. As Red is just scouting all around the base of his opponent with the sheep, and the sheep are also coming from fire as they are trying to basically discover what is happening all around the map, around the corners and whatnot, as there apparently is one sheep hidden inside the forest, as she was probably too scared to be eaten in the early stage of the game. So of course we are right now going to be looking at who is going to be falling behind in the number of villages, as this village is coming for a bit of scouting, probably looking for the gold as well, maybe. Village accounts significantly lower amount fire at 14, as the Persian Whereas the opposing Persian is having already 16, say my name. So it, as I was talking, that say my name might be a bit of an issue for his team. Apparently this time around it's not really going to be that major. He's actually playing better than Fire so far, it seems like. He was probably establishing himself slightly faster. And you can already right now see that the Vietnamese are fully seeing that there might be a bit of an issue for them through the actually long distance, and they are already working on all the walling in there, whereas Brazil A are doing nothing like that yet. They actually didn't really wall in the Arabia either. They were basically using just buildings for a wall, and you can see basically this is exactly the walling that they were aiming for. And the reason for that also might be because, of course, walls are a bit more difficult to build on the Sci Nations Cup, as they are more expensive and built a bit slower. And well, what else? Already wall being built by ACCM, but he has basically right now recognized that he needs to build the walls a bit differently. And this is just basically big wall building right about now by Vietnam. They are building it absolutely everywhere, and I kind of think it's a good idea, because from the Bedouins that I have seen, usually on this map you see aggression happening quite soon. And since this quite frankly is one of the more open variants, the way it spawned, there were a lot of ways actually inside the opponent bases. Well, they might be under pretty heavy pressure from the opponents, because they definitely will be aggressive minded, because they have seen that it works quite alright in the first Arabia. So if they can simulate something like that again, they will definitely be happy with how the game might be going for them. In the meantime, on the left, just a bit of walling coming up from Brach as well, and he definitely should be walling, because he is the one who is a bit further away from his teammates, even though not as far away as, say, my name. And he is coming for the mining camp next to the gold, which is slightly secondly spawned, because of course he's being blocked from the bottom. It's not great. Already coming for the palisade wall in there as well, so they're going to be just a bit slower with the wall in. And does he have some extra gold somewhere? All the way to the back, which is kind of okay. Even though it's potentially unsafe, if he falls properly, it's going to be fine. But yeah, this is not really ideal spawn for him, and potentially could be costing him some extra resources or whatnot a bit later into the fuel age, or maybe in the castle age, when he wants to be having a bit more gold gatherers in there, then the gold mine will be allowing him. Okay, so market coming up, as the fuel age is already hit, and apparently our spectator overlay is not working properly. That's sucky. Yeah, it's unfortunately not working. I was kind of looking that they should be already advancing into fuel age, so you're gonna have to do it the old school way, with just the population and the villagers count being basically displayed in there. And well, otherwise you're going to be looking at the feudal ages and the players, as they are going to be advancing into the next ages. So blacksmith coming up for say my name, so that's definitely a signal that he will be fast casting as the Persian, and also the reason for the walls, of course. Blacksmith as well. It's almost looking like that actually most of the Vietnamese are going to be coming fast castle. Feudal age for ACC, I'm definitely gonna be fast castle once he's advancing at about 30 minutes. At 23 villages. It's really looking like that. Blacksmith market, yep, everybody is gonna be coming into the next age. Spanish. Just going to be waiting for the blacksmith, those two guys, apparently. Blacksmith coming up for him. For blue, yes. Blacksmith and market coming up for Ryut. Blacksmith also down with some stable, and is going to be market from fire being built on the left, as we have already seen. And you have absolutely everybody coming and hurrying up into the castle age, which is slightly unexpected and a bit different than what I have seen a bit before. For example, in the last week, as I said, in the game between CZA and their opponents from ARC-A, Argentina A, where they were basically harassing their opponents from the very start, and there was a significant difference in the fact that actually both teams went for Aztecs, and they were basically going for Monk Rush, both of them, and it was very, very powerful. It worked out in the end better for the Argentinians, but CZs, they were just so strongly pushing forward. It was, I think, exit. I think it was exit or error. I always confuse those two because it's just too similar in my mind. But yeah, one of those was basically just eating into the enemy bases, but unfortunately they let themselves, CZs, be surprised by some backbuild of monasteries, and then they weren't able to get rid of it in time. which led to them actually conceding the game. So finishing with the walls, they're definitely expecting, it seems like, that their opponents are gonna be coming for castle ages as well. So they didn't really hurry up with the walls all that much. Still a lot of walling to go on the right side to basically be fully protected. Whereas the opponents, they are fully prepared. Let's check if we are going to be seeing some kind of hole in the wall. Not really. This is just a basically double layered wall in there. I see, but and here is coming a hole. Well, Say My Name definitely will have to be quite a lot careful, because this is potentially quite dangerous. Because this could be easily letting knights in, and that's definitely what's gonna happen in here, as he's coming already for the town center. Players are reaching the castle ages, as he is quite nicely fit. Rather fit in snug on the left, but there are going to be a few ways inside his base, as he's already coming for the house to basically stop that. And yeah, otherwise he's blocked, so it's going to be all the way under DC if he will be breached by the opponents. In the meantime, some camo getting rid of the scout cavalry, because Bekti is having a look inside the enemy bases and looking, for example, at the villages. Something interesting. Well, Riot is at 27. Right now, Cool is, or rather, Bekti is also reaching 27, as is Say My Name, so they are really moving quite well. And it really seems like that Vietnamese are so far having a bit more of the game. Well, Scout is not going to be having more of the game anymore. But the castle is coming up from the Spanish, right? Yes, that's the Spanish, and the opponent Spanish, that's going to be Goku. And we are going to be waiting for his castle as well, that is coming up in here, which I think is slightly more defensive than I would be hoping. At this stage, since everybody was going into castle, I would be thinking he might be a bit more adventurous and just drop it in front of the stone. Because why not? He would be buying himself actually a bit more ground and whatnot. But right now he's at least gathering, or rather covering the gold as well, which might be worth it. But still, he's limiting himself and limiting the map control that he could be gaining before the opponents are going to be aggressive, because there's a lot to be gained. You can see all the gold mines in there, even the relic in here, as the town center is coming to the right. And if you build the castle here, you will be even covering the town center from attack by like rams. That is definitely gonna come in this game. So yeah, not sure what's really the idea behind the castle in this position. Doesn't make a whole lot much of a sense to me, but you mustn't forget that. Oh well, that's gonna be surprise waiting for Brazil, eh? As Bhakti is already right next to Riot, and he's right now definitely intent on a bit of a revenge for the first game, where Riot just absolutely owned him. And this time it might be a bit different, as already Mangonel is up, and there's absolutely no army from Riot. Absolutely no army whatsoever. And what is he actually going to be having as an army? I'm not all that sure. He's having stable, so potentially some camels. That might be something that he wants to do. Already the monk being ready, so that's going to be monks. Is he actually going to be having a bit more of them? Not really sure. Not really sure all that much, but he's already going to be pushing through, trying to convert some of the villages. Well, just got away, and she gonna get away all that much. Oh no, she didn't. The other one didn't. So that's going to be one of the conversions in here. And of course, with the camel coming up from him, it's not going to be all that easy for Rio to defend himself. And he's definitely surprised quite a lot. It seems like that actually Tyrants are significantly surprised in here. Tyrants, Brazil A. As on the right, ACCM is also pushing forward quite well. As Goku, well, yeah. Goku is having interesting number of Conquistadors as well, but apparently those guys from Fire are just not going to be strong enough, as Conquistadors are super strong in the Castle Age, and they are able to deal even with their counter units like Knights and whatnot. So in the meantime, this is going to be a bit different. This is basically what I was talking about, what CZ and their opponents, Argentina A, did last week, basically monk push. But this is right now going to be played with a different civilization, with the Chinese, and Chinese monks are going to be aiming into the victory. Oh, careful, Bhakti. Yeah, they're just sloppy. They're just absolutely sloppy, because if he had the monks in that, he could have converted both of these guys. Right now he's gonna be converting probably at least one of those. Oh, both! Somebody got lucky. Yeah, that's what's one hit remaining. Oh man, that was interesting. Right now this is going to be coming to repair it. And this gal, that is also the stolen one. Actually, right now it's almost looking like basically all the army is basically stolen from his opponents. Oh well, this is nice. Yeah, that was a nice hit in there, into full health, but the villager is just now going to be continuing repair, and ACCM is going to be joining into the battle in here at the bottom, as of course he needs to, because the archers from Brach are already coming in, but they are already coming into the opponent base on the right side, and this is right now different bloomed archers from Cool, and since Goku is having far elsewhere, he could be definitely wide open on the goal and the foot, and he's already moving away, as he is probably going to be aiming for a town center somewhere in there. Let's go back to the main battlefield on the left, where the battle is going quite well for Vietnam, like really damn well so far, and it might be a really kind of short game. If somehow Brazil A doesn't come up with some counter plan, because so far I don't see all that much. This is definitely going to be quite scary. Goodbye, Mangonel. Yes, but of course he's going to be allowing some extra shots from those guys, and since there are monks galore, they are going to be healing all those units, and that will result in basically continued pressure in here. Just going to be waiting for another Mangonel that is already coming in with Siege Works number 2, and well, yeah, needs to be a bit more careful in here, because he cannot really fight the Conquistadors against Plumed Archers. That's just a better fight for Plumed Archers, especially as far as some kind of economy efficiency goes, because Conquistadors are quite expensive and whatnot. With the Knights coming in, Siege Workshop also on. Careful about this. Could be just killing your own units if you are not really paying enough attention, as we are looking at the Plumed Archers on the right, just pushing forward, ever onward, trying to kill some economy from Goku. And that's exactly right about now happening quite well. Alright, so these are just a few sheep. A few more of those at the top. On the left, not much really happening, just a bit of a boom in, and that's about it. Right now for Yellow and for Brook, who is fully engaged on the right. He's already basically stonewalled in here on the left as well, gathering a lot of stone, so basically he's just giving up the idea that he's going to be continuing with the castles for him, as the advance is still pushing forward. And yep, this is going to be all about proper micro, and Goku definitely has to be quite worried about getting those Conquistadors converted, which definitely can happen because they are having quite low range, and that allows the monks to steal them one by one if they are microed properly. So yep, that's going to be a bit of a micro battle between Goku and his opponent Bekti. Otherwise, not really much of an aggression happening from Brazil A. Basically, all the aggression is right now happening from Vietnam, and they are attacking on both left and right, and they are killing a ton of opponents' villages right now, especially Cool. He's doing a great job killing tons of them. You can see, oh well, those are heavy losses right about now for Goku, who is dropped to 57 villages, which is by far the least, by about 12 villages. That's a lot. Whereas the Vietnamese are doing such a great job. You can see, especially Say My Name is definitely redeeming himself after the first one. As he said already, 103 villages, Fine is at 102 as well, but still the 104 is nice, and the rest 72, 74, 75. For Brazil A it's 60, 72, 72. So yeah, the economy is slightly, ever so slightly better for Vietnamese, and we mustn't forget that they are already the ones who are pushing forward and not getting ready by the opponents at all. Oh well, this is actually getting quite good for Vietnam A. Somewhere else something interesting happening, not really all that much, just a lot of villages waiting to be potentially idle a bit later. Sheep just as a scout, as already the stables are being prepared, which basically means that Say My Name should be advancing into Imperial as he is. And he's having nice these horses, so it's going to be Cavaliers right off the bat. Cavaliers from him are right there, and otherwise pushing forward with these. And what's gonna happen now? Because of course right now we are seeing the switch into a bit of a knights. I don't exactly think that these are just all converted, they should be already made. Some stables are coming up all across the map from Say My Name, and they are probably going to be pushing into the middle in here, basically just continuing where they have breached, and I think that's kind of a good idea, because there's not much of a reason to be coming for some other access point like on the left, because they are already through, and if they can stop those castles from coming up, which they definitely should be able to do so, especially if you move the Mangonels for a good shot into all those dudes, which you definitely need to do, otherwise you're gonna lose quite costly Conquistadors in here. Come on, why are you not sending actually those Mangonels in? They are sorely needed in there. as we are also looking at Imperial Age coming from fire. But yeah, let's see if it's going to be fast enough, because he does have nice economy. He has already established himself with the knights in there. He's already having them hidden inside the base. But yeah, he needs to be worried about actually letting his teammate Goku kinda die, as the castle is coming up from Cool, and Cool is definitely having so far a very good game against Goku, but it all could be accounted to the fact that actually Goku had to help his teammate Ryut, and that meant that basically opened the doors for Cool's aggression, and Cool definitely took it by the hair. Okay, so already Cavaliers from Say My Name are in, with Paladins going to be researched pretty soon. You can see the amount of resources, 1200 food, 800 gold. Right now 1300, so yeah, that's going to be Paladins clicked in pretty soon. Imperial Age for Cool, and these are Imperial Age's pretty important ones. And I'm just right about now waiting for the Mangonels. Come on. Yeah, that was a decent one. Pretty nice hit in there, but he already needs to be starting getting worried. Because Ryut was, oh man, he was actually hiding a lot of camos in here. With some cavaliers already being prepared by fire. This is going to be quite good combo, together with all the Conquistadors, and even though this army and push might have looked quite strong, I'm not all that sure it's going to be able to handle all this, because right now it's going to be all four Brazil A guys. No, go into the battlefield, right now just screw those guys, you don't need to deal with them, especially since you are woefully ineffective in them, or rather with them. Just help your teammates, basically to steamroll your opponent, which happened anyway, but it could have been even faster. And you will probably have to somehow defend against your opponent, because he's already inside your base, killing your units, and going to be killing your economy as well, because he already does have the trebuchets, and that's exactly what is going to be helping him push you back. Okay, so these are some Cavaliers from Say My Name already waiting, and the upgrade for Paladins should be definitely coming up. We have seen the researches, or rather, resources for him, and you can see right now the difference in the economy is getting quite scary at this point. Imperial Age for ACCM, so that's basically all, but just Bekti is going to be falling back a bit, because he was investing a lot into the battles in there, so it's understandable. But the economies, you can see Vietnam 112, 124, 107, 104, and for Brazil A only fire is at 136, but the rest 72, 88, 83. That's just absolutely horrible, especially considering that right now Say My Name was able to get into Green's base, into Brook, and is right now raiding here with the Paladins. And he's killing tons of villages. You can see a ton of them dead, and he has been able to get exactly through the middle. Yeah, I was kind of looking if maybe he breached somewhere through the side, but he didn't. And it's basically forcing full-on retreat from Ryut, and also from Brach to basically defend himself. Well, Brach has already lost about at least 10 villages, and that's already quite worth it, because they are, a bit too late for the castle. So that's at least a bit of luck right now for Brazil A. It's going to be working for them quite well, and they should be able to repel this raiding party from the yellow player. In the meantime, right now, Fire is trying to push basically back on their opponents to ease the pressure on Goku and help him at least a bit in that, because he's the only one who can. It's not like those Conquistadors are going to be able to deal with plumed archers in Imperial Age and fully upgrade it and whatnot. That just wouldn't be happening at all, and well, he definitely has to hope that a CCM is not going to be fast enough to help against that, but it seems like that he will be, and I'm curious how the upgrades are gonna go. Fortunately, we don't see it. We don't see it right now, but we would be probably expecting that at least Fire, with the strong economy that he's having, should be already researching the Paladins. That definitely will be happening somewhere else. The villagers have been killed trying to build a town center, and there's going to be another town center, but this time for the other side, for Fire. But yet again, a bit of raiding coming up with the Paladins from Say My Name, who is right now leading on the score by quite some margin, but not really all that much above Fire, just about 100 points, so they are basically playing equally. As the Paladins are finally in for the blue player, who is missing 2 upgrades on the attack, whereas the opponent is missing exactly the same, so they are playing on exactly a level field in here. Both Persians in this game killing villages as he can, as there is a trade already starting in there, as on the left there apparently are some Conquistadors from ACCM still pushing forward, but we have already seen him switching into the Paladins a bit later. So Chukonos are going to be the unit of Bekti right now, which definitely makes sense, with a few monks still remaining and a lot of paladins all across the map being thrown, as there is going to be a pretty strong push by Say My Name with his teammate ACCM and also supported by Cool. So this is more or less like 2.5 against how many? Against so far. So far looking like 2.5 as well. So pretty much equal, but so far we don't really see all that much of an army from He's having decent amount of conquistadors, but not really anything all that major. And basically the only one keeping him alive is right now Fire, with the tons of paladins that he's having right now fully upgraded. And the yellow are also fully upgraded, whereas the cavaliers from teal, or rather from purple, are just now exactly in the correct time for the engagement. This was very well timed. Absolutely nicely timed by Vietnamese to get them the power spike that they exactly needed. And even though it's not fully upgraded, it just doesn't matter, because right now they are having the numbers, and with the pluntages and the reinforcements from yellow coming up, and with the trebuchets getting rid of the castle, this is looking quite promising from Vietnam on the right flank. And with all the villages coming up, it's almost looking like that he's going to be castle dropping. First it's going to be Siege Workshop for probably some Rams. I don't exactly think that he will be coming for some Mangonos on just right about now. That's just quite expensive. We'll be expecting a bit more of the Rams to basically tank some damage from those boom touches of the opponent, as the castle is down and they are quite inevitably pushing forward in here in the battle. Pushing forward, ever forward. And how is it looking for a moment on the left battlefield? Not really all that much happening in here, as basically Ryut is wide open and for the taken. Not really all that much for him to do, as oh, he's definitely gonna be taken. You can see already that was a castle that is taken down. Castle also ready for the Persian Say My Name and some stables in here, so he's definitely thinking that he will want to diversify actually his portfolio of attacking opportunities, and also going to be pushing on Brach to basically keep him out of the game for some kind of significant amount of time. Basically disallowing him helping on the right, as we are looking at tons, literal tons of pluntages from Cool, and this is looking very well indeed for Vietnam A. Getting the town center, pushing forward, and in the process, of course, they are getting a ton of economy, because of course you can see all the farms, they are not going to be available to Goku. He will have to rebuild them. That's first cost. And second cost, it's just taking time to rebuild it and move the villages and whatnot, so that's of course quite significant downtime in the economy for him. As in these games and in these stages, it's all about proper efficiency, as you are really straining your economies quite a lot. So last Imperial Age from Goku, or rather from Becky, is coming in, but it's already at the time where the GGs are being called, and oh well, Vietnamese definitely did choose a very correct home map, and even though it took us two, or rather, this is the third attempt, 3 attempts to start it, it was definitely well worth it, and this was, I'm not afraid to say, a steamroll. There wasn't much of a chance actually for Brazil A to win this game. They were under the pressure from the very start. Bekti did such a great job himself, pushing into the middle, basically absolutely confusing the opponents and forcing them to defend like 3 versus 1. And that allowed Say My Name and his teammates to basically boom as they wanted. And with the extra harassment on Goku by Cool, yeah, well, that was just pretty great indeed. Nicely played, and we are tied, and we are gonna be seeing the 4th game. That is going to be Nomad. Interesting. In the meantime, let's check into the post game. Even though Say My Name is having the highest score, MVP is definitely Bekti for me, because the early attack was exactly what allowed all the booming and whatnot, and resulted in this. That's where it all started. And, well, this time Vietnamese didn't really let on. As, well, of course the opponents didn't really let on in the first game, even though there was a bit of an issue in there. For a moment, it was just calculated by them. But here, it was just a push from the beginning till the end. So nicely played by the Vietnamese. You can see the fastest advances from Say My Name. And he definitely redeemed himself. Okay, GG.